Do you remember Lassie, that perfect dog who saved lives, faced danger, and always knew exactly what to do? Well, what most people don't know is that the story behind the world's most famous animal star isn't nearly as perfect as it seemed. Behind the cameras, there were secrets, manipulation, and a truth almost no one ever discovered. Today, you're going to find out what they never told you about Lassie's fame and understand why, maybe, you've been deceived all along.
Did you know that the original Lassie didn't even exist in real life? Before she became a TV icon, Lassie was just a fictional character created in a short story published in 1938 by Eric Knight. It told the tale of a brave collie who crossed Scotland to reunite with her owner, a simple story that moved millions during World War II. No one could have imagined that this little tale would be the first step toward creating the greatest canine star in movie history. The story's success was so huge that just a few years later, Hollywood decided to turn it into a film. In 1943, Lassie Come Home was born, with one curious detail. Lassie, the dog in the movie, was actually a male collie named Pal, and yet he completely captivated audiences with his intelligence and expressive eyes, winning the hearts of an entire generation. Pal's performance was so iconic that he became the symbol of canine loyalty and launched a true entertainment empire. But what looked like the beginning of a beautiful story was hiding something much more complex. From that moment on, Lassie stopped being just a character and became a million-dollar brand. That's when Hollywood realized the power of an image and began to mold the perfect dog the entire world would fall in love with. Except that perfection came with a price. And that's exactly what the next chapter reveals.
Did you know that for a time, Lassie was more famous than many Hollywood stars? At the height of the 1950s and 60s, her face was everywhere. TV shows, toys, comic books, commercials, even political campaigns. Kids dreamed of having a dog like her, and studios made millions off her image. Lassie became a global symbol of heroism, purity, and unconditional love. The TV series Lassie premiered in 1954 and stayed on air for an incredible 19 years, a record almost unheard of even today. Over 500 episodes were produced and translated into dozens of languages, each one reinforcing the image of the perfect collie who always saved the day. But behind the cameras, there was something the public never knew. There wasn't just one Lassie. Several dogs were trained to look and act like the same character, each one specialized for a specific type of scene. And that's where the myth starts to blur with reality. While the world believed in one single heroine, the industry was crafting a carefully manufactured symbol. Lassie was no longer a dog. She was a product, a living brand that couldn't age, fail, or show weakness. But every illusion has its breaking point, and the end of the story wouldn't be as perfect as it seemed. You probably picture Lassie as a happy star, surrounded by love, comfort, and constant affection, right? Well, the reality behind the cameras was very different. The massive success of the series demanded perfection, and to achieve that, the dogs went through intense and sometimes exhausting training. Pal, the very first Lassie, even collapsed during filming because of the extreme heat generated by the studio lights. And when Pal grew old, the producers didn't hesitate. They replaced him with his own son, and from then on, the Lassie lineage continued for generations. All of them looked alike, all trained to maintain the illusion. But fame came at a cost. These dogs lived under a relentless routine, surrounded by pressure and constant performance demands. The public saw the heroism, but never the hours of repetition, the stress, or the physical toll behind every perfect scene. This is the part of the story Hollywood preferred to hide. The Lassie the world saw on TV was a meticulously choreographed fantasy, an illusion sold as a pure, heartwarming bond between a human and a dog. But the real question is, was that love genuine, or just a reflection of what people wanted to believe? Everything that rises eventually falls, and with Lassie, it was no different.
As the years passed, audiences changed, and new generations no longer connected with stories that felt too perfect. The series was canceled in 1973, and little by little, the name Lassie started to disappear from the spotlight, overshadowed by new icons and new forms of entertainment. The once bright star began to fade quietly. There were attempts to revive the franchise, movies in the 90s and 2000s, but the magic was never the same. The world no longer believed in the innocence of that flawless, heroic dog, and what remained were memories of a time when television could still create myths that felt real. Pal and his descendants, who carried the weight of that legendary name, became part of a story built on a mix of affection and exploitation. But perhaps the most fascinating part of all is the legacy Lassie left behind. Even after the fame died out, she remained a symbol of loyalty, courage, and unconditional love. And ironically, that might be the truest part of her entire story. Because, in the end, it wasn't the industry that kept Lassie alive. It was the people who believed in her.
The part no one ever told you is that Lassie was never just a dog. She was a mirror, a reflection of everything people wanted to believe about love, loyalty, and purity. While the world was moved by her stories, Hollywood was turning real emotions into a profitable product. The truth is, Lassie didn't just represent goodness, she sold it. Behind every tear shed by the audience, there was a carefully crafted script designed to touch hearts and keep the success alive. And yet, something unexpected happened. Even though she was a manufactured creation, Lassie somehow became real. Thousands of people adopted dogs inspired by her, changed the way they viewed animals, and started treating them with more affection and respect. From a perfectly engineered marketing icon came a genuine transformation. So maybe in the end, the deception wasn't so bad after all. The industry may have created a myth, but we were the ones who kept it alive. Because deep down, everyone wants to believe that somewhere in the world, there really is a dog like Lassie. And maybe that's the real secret of her fame. She never truly existed, but she made the whole world believe she did. In the end, Lassie was never just a star. She was a feeling, a symbol of the purest bond between humans and dogs. And even though it all started as fiction, the emotion she sparked was real. Because when a story is told from the heart, it doesn't die. It simply changes form. And maybe that's why even today, Lassie still lives in every dog we love.